Hi, I'm Matthew Reamer, and I am in the Almond Leadership Program. I am the Continuous Improvement Manager at South Valley Farms. I work on all aspects of process improvement on our farm and inside our plant. I work with process optimization, finding ways to save money in every aspect. I originally wanted to work in the walnut industry. That's where I came from. I grew up, my parents have a small walnut farm. And when I was in college, I tried to get an internship on one of our sister companies' walnut farms. And they said they had no room for any interns. They instead offered me a position down here at South Valley Farms working with almonds and pistachios. And I was a poor college student with a young family. I needed the money, so I took it. And I'm happy I did take it. I wouldn't have it any other way. I love working in the industry. I stumbled across the Almond Leadership Program online, either on a news article or on the Almond Board's website, and it sounded fascinating to me that I could learn and network and go to these seminars and be shoulder to shoulder with some of the best people in the industry, the most knowledgeable and experienced, and learn from them and help the industry grow in ways that we need during some of these difficult times in the industry. When I was first starting out in the industry, I was supervising a harvest crew, and we had two different operators on two different pieces of machinery. And one of the operators seemed to go slower than the other constantly. And I, I initially believed that it was that individual's performance, that they chose to be slower and accomplish less acres. And after a while, I operated that piece of machinery myself and found out that it was on a slower setting. For me, that was a hard lesson that I was blaming that individual for not working very hard, when in reality, this equipment was under my stewardship and it was my responsibility to make sure that it was operating to the best of its abilities. And so it made me think more outside the box and look at the entire picture of the operation and think, why is this happening and how can I improve it? My favorite time of year is harvest. I love how busy it is, and I love to see the fruits of our labors. And I especially love the opportunities for process improvement. Harvest is such a labor intensive and equipment intensive process that it's the best time of year to be out there looking for ways to improve. A slightly crazy idea I've had is to replant orchards earlier than we expect. The status quo seems to be about 20 to 25 years for the life of the orchard, but I seriously think we need to explore. Every orchard will behave differently, but I think we need to explore doing that a little earlier. I think we need to look at the water savings. Yield typically behaves on a yield curve. We all know that yield decreases over the life of an orchard. But I think when we when we shorten the life of that orchard, we're using less water per pound of almonds created, and we're also harvesting less. So we're using less fuel, less harvest expenses, less dust created, less emissions in general. So the sustainability image would be a little better. And when we focus on that yield curve with our maximum yield during our best years and then replant, we can get even more yield. So it's not just profits increasing, it's a more sustainable future for the industry. And I seriously would love to see other people doing research into this and would love to see their thoughts and what they're seeing out in the field. My favorite place I've ever lived is Salmon, Idaho. I lived there for almost a year when I served a mission for my church. I was expecting somewhere else in the world, but when I opened my letter and it said Idaho. I was a little skeptical. I really wanted to go to Europe. There's all sorts of places you can go, but they pick for you. And I got Idaho. And at first I was a little worried, but it was awesome. The people in Idaho are phenomenal. Just they slow down. Their lives are slower, but they're still very hardworking people, but I mean, everyone drives a little slower. Everyone's just so nice. And it was this beautiful, small, quiet mountain town where everything was slower and it was just beautiful. A little bit about my family. I have a wonderful wife. Her name is Lindsay. She loves the outdoors, she loves to cook, and she loves raising our children. We have a son named Ephraim. He just turned 4 years old. He loves cars and he loves to play. That's all he wants to do. I have a daughter named Oakley. She's almost 2, and she loves to read, or at least pretend to read. And I have another daughter named Elizabeth. She is 1 month old, and she likes to eat and sleep, and that's about it. And there's a lot of causes that I'm passionate about. For one, I'm very active in my church, and I love serving in any possible way there. Sometimes that's with a food drive. I really enjoy that kind of thing. I think people think a lot clearer when they have full bellies, and I think that's something I'm very passionate about. I also love to go out with the missionaries from my church and teach people about Jesus Christ. I think there's something special about someone who's on that spiritual journey and really helping them with it. I also love to help people with their financial education. I think that's something everybody needs to learn. A couple of things on my bucket list are I want to own my own farm, I want to have my own business separate from the farm, and I want to travel the world with my wife. We both love different cultures and all sorts of food, and we would love to just go around the world. I think one of the top locations I'd like to start with is Iceland. So this was easy when I was in Idaho because I would say, "Oh, my family farms walnuts," and everyone was like, "Whoa, no way!" Now you say that here, half the people do that.